So, hey, beautiful people. Today's video, I will be talking about my journey with ADHD, how I got my diagnosis, and also how I released my diagnosis. So, before I hop into the video, I just want to give you guys a little background about me. My name is Nicole. I'm 32, going on 33. I'm a mom, I'm a wellness entrepreneur, and so much more. And I am naturally a creative spirit. So being neurodivergent wasn't a surprise for me or even coming across that diagnosis, even though I kind of had a self-diagnosis for like my mid 20s because I was just like, I be acting like I have ADHD. I would say it as a joke, and then it made me want to go into getting a real diagnosis because as I got older, life only felt like it got harder and I felt more overwhelmed. I did end up finding out as a human design 3-5 projector, of course. Part of life in your first 30 years is to deal with a lot of trial and error and experimentation. And I guess part of my personal experimentation journey brought me to ADHD and an ADHD diagnosis. So around the time that I found out I was pregnant, I was like, I just want to be the best person and the most efficient and the most productive person for my child. And with that, I kind of like went on I don't want to say a deep end, but my journey of self-development had me really wanting to make sure that I can be as optimal as possible. And with that, I did have a therapist, and she's not a psychiatrist, but a psychologist, and was able to kind of go over the DSM-5, which is the latest kind of book on diagnosing mental disorders or just like any disorders. And the DSM-5, based on that book, I would say like 7 out of 9 questions right. So not only did she diagnose me with ADHD, and when I say right, as in alignment with what would be considered ADHD in terms of symptoms. So with that diagnosis, I was just like, okay, like I want to do something about this. And the therapist at the time, felt like she didn't want to put me on medication. She was a Black woman as well. And I feel like she just probably see a lot of people get put on antidepressants and medication. And she was just like, I just feel like talk therapy and cognitive behavioral therapy would be good enough to manage your symptoms. Although she felt like my symptoms were mild to severe ADHD. So with all of that, I did get on guanfacine. I did tell her that I did feel like, because again, I was in my I just want to do all the things I got to do mode. And I just was like, I was open to taking guanfacine. So she did connect me to another place that was able to prescribe it to me. And I had a nurse practitioner that I would check in with weekly about it, and sometimes like every 2 weeks, because they make sure they give you only the dosage you need so that you're not someone who's just trying to get the medication, because a lot of people tend to abuse ADHD meds and just stimulant meds as well. So I tried it, and I just felt like my thoughts were all over the place. Part of that could have just been because I tried it 6 months postpartum, because they recommended that I wait 6 months before taking the medication. So I tried it, and I just was like, yeah, this was cool at first, but I felt like it made me very sensitive to anything else. I couldn't have a cup of coffee. I couldn't go and have some herb. I just couldn't do anything if I was taking that medication. And I just felt like I don't want to have a supplement or something that's not natural in my body, but yet I'm not able to consume these natural things, which also seem to help with my ADHD or my neurodivergence. So with all of that being said, you can definitely check out my previous videos on it, and I'll link them when I post this video. But also, I'm going to talk about how I decided to release the title of ADHD and being neurodivergent. Well, not neurodivergence. I feel like I do relate with that. Like, my brain might work differently, right? But, excuse me, I decided to release the title of being ADHD, because I realized I'm now taking medication for it. I'm kind of in this not self of thinking something's wrong with me. And I do remember having a friend at the time when I told her I was ADHD and I wanted to take supplements for it. And she's very like conscious and like kind of like leans more towards holistic and natural health. So with that, she just was like, "Are you sure? Like, you don't seem like you have ADHD." She's actually one of the only people who told me that. And that's because she knows another side of me that I feel like a lot of people don't see. Um, excuse me. I guess that's the ADHD kicking in because I'm seeing this fly past the screen. And I'm keeping it real. Like, I'm not editing this video because I want you guys to see, like, you can give me feedback too. You might be like, "Girl, I think you still might have ADHD." Hey, I'm just giving my journey. So when she told me that, I kind of took offense because I was just like, I just went through all this work to get diagnosed. I learned all this new information. I also was using a lot of ADHD productivity hacks, which I still recommend if you're someone looking to release the title of ADHD and all these things. Like, use the hacks because the neurodivergent hacks work. Setting timers work. Having a body double works, like having someone get work done while you're getting work done. These things work. But I would definitely say releasing the title has helped me so much and allowed me to self-actualize. So I'm going to jump into that. So I have my notes because I'm always writing notes. Ooh, look how cute I look pregnant. I love that picture. But yes, my notes. So I have my notes because I know that, yes, my brain does work differently. And also, our brains now contain so much more information. We are meant to use the tools of technology to kind of hold this information. Like, the average person isn't going to remember everything just because of the amount of information we receive on a consistent basis. So, how I healed my anxiety and turned inward. And I say anxiety because I do feel like the root of my ADHD behavior was really stemming from anxiety. And anxiety stems from someone focusing so much on the past, worrying about the past, or anxious about the future because you're not in the present moment. And I felt like I couldn't be because my mind naturally moves so much faster than my body. So like literally even when I speak to camera a lot of the times, I'm already like 2 paragraphs ahead of what I want to say in here before it comes out of here. So it's really just kind of learning to find a mind-body coherence, which I feel like is more important than putting yourself on medication for ADHD. So let's jump into it. So ways I healed that. First thing I did was I got off the medication because I was like, there's too many wonderful things on this planet that can help me heal. I don't want to take a medication that I'm not really feeling is giving me the full benefits. And this is nothing to say about guanfacine. It might be a medication that works great for somebody else. I got it because it was safe for breastfeeding at the time, and also because it's literally safe for children and teens who might have a level of hyperactivity or ADHD. But with that being said, because of my contradictions with it, I personally was like, no. So next is my relationship with cannabis. And this is still a journey because I was never a person who like smoked as a young kid. Like I know some people who were like teenagers and they used weed or smoked cannabis. I had it around me because my grandmother, I'm from the West Indies, my family is Jamaican. So with that, my grandmother always partook and like had it, but like I didn't really even recognize that until like, well, I recognized it, but I didn't really know much about it until I was already in my 20s, because it was just like, it's a plant, like no one made a big deal about it. And I think it's a cultural thing too, but there's just also so much stigma. And I think that stigma makes people feel so much fear about it, but also there's some people really do not operate well with it. And because of that, I'm not here recommending it for anybody, but I'm just giving you guys my journey. So part of it was I know that I enjoy it, and I know that it helps me drop into that mind-body coherence. Like If I enjoy cannabis, whether it's edible or go outside for a smoke or whatever, I know that I can like literally have my mind and my physicality match up because my mind is not moving a mile a minute, right? And it's not all the time. My mind doesn't always move like that. That's another thing too. It's just when I'm in those moments, excuse me. It's just when I'm in those moments of anxiousness, which is natural as a human. We do go through periods of life that and seasons of life that bring us anxiety or bring about major change. I know that it has been very beneficial for me. And if you're watching this video and you're interested in learning more about cannabis journey, especially as a mom, I'm going to link someone's Instagram who I think is great. Her name is Blunt Blowing Mama, and she was really, really informative for me in terms of seeing real women who are moms who are also going on a journey of wanting to take care of their nervous system and wanting to show up and be present, but also knowing they need to have a moment of self-care in order to do so. And I feel like she gives a lot of wisdom on how you can do it in a way that still falls within your values, still falls within a level of safety and comfort, because cannabis has so much stigma. So it's like she gives information that really helps encourage you to not go against your personal journey and your personal experience because of what people might be saying or what you might be hearing. Next is deep meditation, and that is really what I felt like I used the plant for, was to be able to drop into my body and ground in moments that I'm anxious or just like literally I have to deal with so much happening. I'm able to have literally used like a shorter amount of time, but able to maximize it in terms of spaciousness. In Dr. Bruce Perry's book, I think he has a book where that Oprah forwarded. I don't know why the name isn't coming to me, because it's not The Body Keeps the Score, but it's another book, or maybe it is. I'm gonna link it, but it's relating to healthy disassociation and how when we go through very traumatic things, being able to have moments of healthy dissociation and spaciousness can actually help us, because it can separate us from the trauma or allow our body to go through the alchemical processes it needs to heal on its own. And most of us don't get that. We're bombarded with news. We're in situations where we're living with other people, whether it's our roommates or family or friends or spouses. So being able to have moments of spaciousness actually can help the ADHD brain, to me, more than taking pharmaceuticals. Next is speaking my needs and honoring it. So one thing about being neurodivergent but living with someone that is neurotypical, my spouse, it can be very difficult when you have a certain way of organizing or doing things for the sake of your neurodivergence. So for example, I know that it really helps me when I'm able to see things out. Like on a counter, if I know I need to take certain vitamins every day, I like to see my vitamins, my vitamin D, my CMOS, certain things have to be in a space where I can see them. If not, it's very easy for me to forget about it. But of course, neurotypical people may need to see things put away, and then they don't understand that if I put, like, for example, he may not understand, oh, I have a brand partnership I'm doing. I need that product out and in the box because I need to, one, I might want to do an unboxing for it. I might also know that I want to shoot it, but I need to make sure I have the right amount of time. And then with a baby, that changes things, right? So sometimes I can leave something out for 2 days because I know, like, if it's out, I'll see it, I'll remember, I'll need to do it. That might not work for the person you're living with. So part of operating and understanding your neurodivergence is being able to speak your needs. Hey, babe, I know that this box is out here, but know that it's out here because I need it to do this. Or, hey, I need a body double because I know that this week my mood has been very impacted, or I'm really, really tired, and I just have some brain fog. So it really would help if we could do the laundry or fold clothes together, right? And the thing is that I actually can get things done very, very quickly, but I also then can be really, really tired. And that is a projector energy thing. So if you're a projector watching this video and you've also deal with this whole like releasing the title of having ADHD, then think about that. How can you just honor who you are and speak the needs of who you are in the moment more to the people around you? Next is taking really great supplements. So here I'm going to do a little spiel about my sea moss, because one thing I've noticed that helps so much, and I actually have another video on supplements, is two things: sea moss and St. John's wort, specifically for anxiety, the St. John's wort. But both of those supplements have been really, really good for just bringing the body to homeostasis. And a lot of times, especially if you're a mom and postpartum mom, being at homeostasis is just like what you need first: being healthy and being at optimal health, having enough water in your body, having enough like charge in your body, because sea moss has iodine. So in that way, it's kind of like charging your body up, giving you the energy you need and the nourishment you need to go forward. That is going to be more helpful than putting someone on ADHD medication. If you're on ADHD medication and there's things that you can do for your optimal health, like drinking more water, taking natural plant-based supplements like St. John's wort. Actually, in this cup right now, I've been drinking some Go-To Cola tincture in my water. So there are things that you can take that can help relax the body. The Go-To Cola Busy tincture is really, really good for relaxing the musculoskeletal system and regenerating it. So like, y'all, what are we doing? Like that's kind of what, like, even just talking about these supplements, I'm like, and just like the plants, the things of the earth that are here to help us, I just kind of like, how was I at a point where I was just like so much wanting to grow and change that I was like willing to just like give my body some supplement to just try to biohack myself, but to me, not in a fully beneficial way. So think about that. Are you doing it because you're trying to operate and keep up with a capitalist system? Or are you doing it because you feel like it's genuinely going to help the overall well-being of yourself in your life? So 2 more supplements as Fatty 15 and OMFG gummies. Thank you guys for partnering with me. Fatty 15 in particular, I've partnered with this brand multiple times, and I take their 90-day supplement. I've taken it, I've gotten like 1 or 2 refills. And that supplement, it's a fatty acid supplement, and it has a fatty acid that is like integral for our body's development and growth. And it's a fatty acid that helps promote a healthy heart. It helps with overall like longevity of life and cell regeneration. So taking supplements that are going to help boost my brain's ability to work, I feel like has been more beneficial than taking a supplement to fix something. Now, again, if you are someone who knows your brain has you have a lot of neurospiciness that's outside of just like mild neurodivergence or being able to work with natural tools, I am not saying at any point you cannot go get medication. This is a video, again, just telling you my experience. And I keep saying that because I think that there could be so much judgment around getting medication, and I don't want to add to that. I just want to tell you why I chose a different route. Next is getting accountability. OMF gummies they were gummies that had like lion's mane, cordyceps, reishi, mushroom gummies that were able to help with, again, my cognitive function and brain development. And just like as I'm breastfeeding, I know that I'm giving a lot of my nutrients to my child. So this is a way of restoring it for myself. Next is getting accountability. So I have a mom support group that I know I can tune into when needed. I have my spouse. I have my mom I can call. So having other people in my life that I can say like, hey, I'm working on this, this, and this, keep me accountable. Or my YouTube community, you guys keep me accountable. I know like I would not feel comfortable going like 6 months or something without posting unless like life happened, you know? But like using tools to keep you accountable or creating community to keep you accountable will be extremely beneficial if you are looking to release the diagnosis of ADHD. And next, spirituality. So one thing I really love about like kind of remembering my spiritual journey in this process of like taking ADHD meds, getting on of it, getting off of it, was I wanted to really honor my inner authority. And excuse me, there was a point I just felt like it just wasn't feeling good. Like it wasn't feeling good not honoring how I felt. Like I kept doing it because I'm like, I just want to be productive, but I was just like, I just don't like the way this makes me feel. I don't like that I feel like my thoughts are all over. I have like irrational thinking, or I go from like, I felt like because the medicine is like you take one small pill a day, you really want to take it as soon as it wears off. So I feel like if I didn't take it exactly within 24 hours or within like, 35 hours, like say if I took it early one day and then later the next day, that gap of time can affect like your brain in between, if that makes sense. And I felt that, and I just was like, no, I don't want to feel like I'm constantly like doing that to my body. And if I am gonna do that, then I could just go smoke some weed and do that, and just have like a moment and relax and have that spaciousness, but I can have more control of it. So yeah, let's see. And with tapping into my spiritual nature, it really helped me tap into limitless thinking, because I was no longer limited by this diagnosis. So, oh, you're neurodivergent or you're ADHD, so your brain works like this, or you can't do this. One thing that I have noticed, and I really don't want this to be taken personally, but I have to say it. I noticed that part of sometimes the ADHD diagnosis or other diagnoses we'll give ourselves, identity diagnoses, are really related to a victim mindset. And I was like, am I just going through this journey of getting this diagnosis because it's like I need an excuse for why I can't perform or show up the way I really want to show up? And I feel like this is going to be the solution. And when I thought about it like that, I was just like, I don't know. I don't know how I'm feeling about that. I don't want to limit my ability as a person because I'm like, oh my God, now I have ADHD. I have brain fog. I can't think. I can't do this. Or I need more time for this. I feel like part of living the human experience is being able to push your potential, but also trust in your ability and your mind. And if you can't trust in your mind, sometimes there's valid reasons, right? But there's other times when it's really just having more nourishment. We just need our minds to work better for us because it's just not getting the nutrients it needs, whether it's the fatty acids or proteins like amino acids. So before getting a diagnosis, get some nutrition. For real. And I didn't realize that I did eat well, but like during different seasons of my life, I went through different food journeys. I ate different things, and I didn't realize like maybe some of what I was experiencing was based on my previous diet and how I nourished myself for the past 5 years. And maybe even though I might have a level of neurodivergence, it doesn't mean that it's severe enough that it can't be handled through lifestyle changes and holistic methods. So next is deconditioning. If you like my human design content, you'll probably really enjoy this. So Deconditioning, when you have ADHD or just deconditioning in general, is the process of releasing the conditioning patterns that we've been given from nature, from our parents and our genes, and nurture from our environment. And when we go through this process, we can choose to analyze what society is doing and seeing the truth in both the benefit and the cons. So you can say, okay, people are taking ADHD meds, people are taking antidepressants. You can really look on Reddit or, other groups to see like what are the benefits? Are people actually happy with the results? Are these people showing up more productive? Are they helping the world? Are they making strides towards doing things that are benefiting people because now they have the cognition and the ability and their capabilities and skills can be more shown? Because, like, if that's not happening, then, and they're just going from medication to medication or diagnosis to diagnosis, I think that tells you more of like, is this just an identity thing or a self sabotage thing, or are you actually ill? And then after deconditioning, we got to recondition. So, reprogramming your subconscious mind. You can check out content by Joe Dispenza as well as just YouTube spirituality. Like, there's so many good YouTubers. I can mention the Universe Guru, New Mind Frame, people who give you information about how we can get rid of old belief systems and patterns and replace them with new thoughts and new beliefs and paradigms that are going to actually bring us towards more of what we want. And this is not last or least. This actually probably should be one of the first things I mentioned in this video. If you want to release the diagnosis of ADHD, the best things you can do for your body, again, I've mentioned nutrition a few times, is breathe and move. So I have particularly breath work and yoga because breath work is the intentional time to breathe. It's not just when you're taking a walk or when you're outside. It's literally sitting And in yoga, the terminology is focus on your drishti. So you can actually focus your eyes to a point to gaze at and sit and breathe. And by doing so, having this moment of intentional breathing, you can talk to your cells, talk to your body. I think that as we are realizing as a society the importance and beauty in everything, we're seeing that like taking time to talk to your water and like pour affirmation into it before you drink it, taking time to breathe deeply and intentionally, these are all things that literally will help your mind work better. Your brain needs oxygen, and if you're not giving your brain oxygen or any type of spaciousness, air, ether, then it's not going to function. I like how I get sassy sometimes with y'all, like y'all here right now, because you are. So the next thing, yoga. I am going to give a shout out to Hot 8 Yoga. I really, really love Hot 8 Yoga. It's a studio here in California. They have a few locations throughout California, and specifically many of them are in Los Angeles. But adding heat to the body can help with detoxification and purification, and then you're adding the movement. So a way we can break up stagnant energy in the body, which allows flow, airflow, and blood flow to the brain, is by movement and taking time out for intentional movement. I'm telling you guys this, and because I've just switched seasons of my life, I went from being in the yoga studio almost every day to now being home with a baby and working ways in of how I can add more physical movement outside of wrangling a toddler. But work with the movement you got. Sometimes wrangling a toddler, and I say wrangling, but I'm talking about, just getting her together and playing with her, like that physical energy is a lot. And I pretty much stayed fit just by I keep saying wrangling because it'd be a lot of energy, y'all. But I literally stay fit because of just taking care of her. But I know that my body needs more intentional movement and yoga, because yoga specifically is going to target certain areas and open certain pathways which again allow for more flow because we have meridians, like energy lines in our body. And when all of those energy lines are able to be open and we have our prana, our chi, our breath moving through them, energy moving through them, it allows for clearer thinking, um, productivity. And I'm going to actually wrap this video up. Yes, I mentioned breathing, movement, soul expression, neutrinos. Yes, sunlight, getting sunlight. But I'm going to wrap this video up because I don't want it to be a long video. It's already pretty long. But two, oh man, there was something I wanted to mention. It'll come back, or I'll say it in another video. But yeah, I'm gonna wrap this video up because those are a lot of tips for grounding, for diving deeper into your diagnosis. I would say the biggest thing, excuse me, I would say the biggest thing is being more aware, like the why behind what you're doing. If you are thinking about the why behind what you're doing and does it serve your soul's purpose, you can decide to still do it or not. Clearly, this ADHD journey and journey of gaining and losing or releasing the title was beneficial for me because I learned a lot about my body and myself. And I also learned a lot about time and different seasons of the body, and also learning to honor your needs. Because sometimes it's not about how different you are, but it's just about honoring that difference and creating more of an environment that suits that difference. And we're seeing that. I think being able to come on social media, be a content creator and a YouTuber is a great example of how I'm able to use my neurodivergent brain and create things that are helpful for the community and collective. Not everyone is meant to be a corporate baddie. Some of us are meant to be influencers and creators and entrepreneurs and herbalists and teachers, and that is just as wonderful. So use your neurospiciness to help you. Use it to highlight your gifts and talents. And that is the point. See, it always comes back. I always just started telling myself, I went from being I'm so forgetful to I know my point's gonna come back. But the point I wanted to make and really end this video with is what I kind of started talking about anyway, is the differences. What have I noticed in my life and my body now that I am no longer on ADHD medication? It's been over a year now since I've been off of it, and way over a year, maybe a year and a half. I started taking it, I took it maybe for 5 months, so maybe like a year. Maybe let's not get crazy. Maybe it's like a year. But I wanted to talk to you guys about like, what is the difference? What has happened in that time since I've stopped taking it? I felt like I got way more clarity. I got clarity on one, if it was for me or not. So that was a good thing. I don't regret the journey of taking it because I was also very intentional about what I chose. So it didn't have me like doing anything abnormal or like feeling miserable, but I just didn't like it. It also, I feel like if you look at my content on my channel, I feel like once I stopped taking it and I was able to really sit with myself and honor my gifts, I was actually able to create more than I've ever created before and do it in a way that just honors my needs. Another thing is I just got really good with using the neurodivergent hacks, like working with time. I think that sometimes we can just be rebellious and not realize the ways we're being rebellious. But if you don't have much time, you just learn to work with the time you have. And by doing so, you're more diligent. I think a lot of people who have ADHD, it really comes to not being as aware of time as they should. So add ways of being aware of time. Set timers, keep your phone near you so you can see what time it is. When you look at your list of things you want to do for the day, if you write a list of goals, and it's always good to write down things because it helps, especially because, again, I told you we're not meant to remember everything, but if you have your list of things you need to do for the day, it might be like, okay, today I need to run to the post office. Set a time. I'm gonna go from 12:30 to 1. And if you can't set a time, like me being a mom, it's pretty hard to set time frames. I know I can still say, I'm going to do it at some point today for 30 minutes. I'm going to just do it quickly. And once I noticed I was setting times, I felt really good. And I realized a lot of the things that I was procrastinating on didn't take much time. I just needed to build more of a structure around it so that my creativity can flow. So that might be something that you just have to do. And part of that structure really starts with the foundation of your overall health. Um, if your brain is not getting enough oxygen, water, your face not getting enough sunlight, these are basic things that will definitely impact your health. So I mentioned a lot of sources and things. I will do my best to link them below because I told you guys I'm not editing this video. Because I think all of it matters, and I want you guys to see a real expression of someone who is not on ADHD medication. And you can tell me, if you might look at it and say, oh, she's all over the place, or you might say her brain works differently, and I got so much wisdom because of how she shared it and how her mind works. So I love you guys. I'll see you in the next video. Please feel free to share with me anything you would like for me to share about my journey. I could make separate videos on that. And in the meantime, check out my CMOS at Cole Apothecary, withlovecole.com/Cole Apothecary too. You can find it on my main site. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. You can check out my human design shorts. I have tons of information on the human design transits because that was the project I built out after deciding to get off my meds. And I feel like I've been more productive than ever before, and I've just been able to honor the way my brain works. I also feel like going on the meds when I was probably going through postpartum, I couldn't differentiate between what could be the meds and maybe what was postpartum. So I do want to make sure I say that that could have played a huge part or no part because it was still at the very beginning of what would have been postpartum. So I hear kids. Yeah. But yeah, that's another thing. Work with what you have. So yes, I'm going to be distracted because I'm neurospicy and probably should be in a way more confined environment in terms of having the focus to record. But the reality is I live in a building, and I live where I live, I'm by the courtyard area. So there's always sound and people walking. And I was like, is that just the neurodivergence? That it's cutting my attention? But no, it's just like I live in a city. So again, I'm saying all these things because I want you to consider it. I want you to honor the details that you give and your neurospiciness. So you can see all the things that I've built out on my channel. You can check out my apothecary, and you can see me in the next video.